Well, Arsenal have won at Old Trafford in their last 3 title successes before today. They'll be hoping that is an omen after this win. You could see what it meant to them. Trossard, the hero, his goal secures an 8th away win in 9. And this incredible run from Mikel Arteta's side. They have got the job done. And we go to the final day. And Arsenal fans now, of course, will look towards Tuesday's game at Spurs, which is Spurs-Manchester City. If that was to end in a draw or, of course, a defeat, it would be Arsenal still on top of the league. Just a word on their mentality today. To play after City have played twice, know they have to win and deliver a result like that.
I think their mentality has been very good all season. I thought the biggest test came with Bayern Munich and then Villa, those 2 games. And then since then, it's just been, I think they've been fantastic, the way they've responded. I think when you're going for a title and City are involved, you probably have to be perfect, and you can nitpick and go back to the West Ham and go back to the Fulham, and you'll probably go to Villa as well, as results you can't really do or have when you're trying to chase City down. And we saw how Liverpool had to be perfect, literally perfect, to win it. And that's the pressure that's on from City because they're so good. They're so good. This team, I don't think they could do any more with the squad they've got and the depth of squad. I'm not sure they could do any more. There's no Arsenal fan that can look at Arsenal and say we're not going to drop points. Of course we are. But when you're chasing City, it's very difficult to be perfect. And that's why, as happy as Arsenal fans will be, you know it's going to take so much for them to lose something against Tottenham or their last game of the season against West Ham. But, you know, in respect of the lads, unbelievable performance up to this point.
What would it be like to support Tottenham on Tuesday for you?
It's really strange. You're hoping that Tottenham got something on it, you know, themselves trying to get into the top 4, but we'll see. But of course, you know what I mean, I want Tottenham to win because it's so long, it's so far, they've done so well to get to it. It just feels a little bit empty because you can't see where they're going to slip up.
OK, let's get some Arsenal reaction. The players have dried off from the monsoon in Manchester in a moment. The goal-scoring hero, Leandro Trossard. First of all, here's Kai Havertz.
It's a long time since Arsenal players were able to stand in that corner of Old Trafford and celebrate a win. Under big pressure and by the end quite a downpour of rain, have you just delivered a huge result, Kai?
Yeah, very important. I think to play here is always tough, we all know that. And I think we prepared the game very well. I think we hadn't got our best game, but at the end we needed that 3 points and we have it now, so we can be very happy with that.
Yeah, Leandro, especially when you need to win, does it really feel like you're suffering by the end, hanging on to that one goal?
Yeah, we had only one job today, and it's winning. Maybe it wasn't the prettiest one, but I think we stuck together, we defended well, and at the end it's a good win for us, and we did what we had to do.
How slow did that clock go second half?
Oh yeah, same as always, but yeah, we were looking for the second goal, and if it doesn't come, then you know it's going to be a tough second half, especially here with the atmosphere. And it's still a good team, and they can hurt you in different ways. So credit to the boys. We defended very well, and it's a good win.
Kai, when you're going for wins in the run-in, especially this close, does it just feel different?
I think it feels nice, you know, to go in every game, and I think we have to win. We have to win every single game because City are always keeping the pressure as well, and it's just so nice. I said that before. It's so nice to be in that race, and every week you have to play at your best and have to win games, and then when you do it, it even feels better. It's one game to go for us, and we need everyone next week, the fans, the whole club behind us, and I think everything's possible. So,
just tell us about your role in the goal, because you were quite far beyond most defenders, but you'd obviously spotted that Casemiro had been slow getting out.
Yeah, I looked to my right and I saw him still on the 5-yard line, or
6-yard line. Do you mean? Yeah.
6-yard line, and I called Ben, and he saw me straight away. So then I think it was a 1v1 situation, and then this guy scored, so can be very happy.
He certainly did. I don't know if you're aware, but you really could have made yourself and Arsenal great with that. Sylvain Wiltord scored a big goal here that helped Arsenal to the title. So did Marc Overmars. And when we look back at this season, who knows? They might just be talking about Leandro Trossard.
Yeah, that's nice, but obviously there's only one objective, and that's try to win the league. Like I said, we have done our job today. We'll be up to the last game, and that's all we were aiming for. And it will be a nice week now, and then a great game next week, and hopefully we can celebrate something.
Is it really going to be a nice week watching City, especially Tuesday night?
Yeah, you never know. Could be. So we can only hope, and we have done our job, and that's the only thing we could have done. So we just need to enjoy this and have a look forward to next week.
And lastly, you Kai, ready for a bit of Tottenham supporting on Tuesday evening?
I'm going to be the biggest fan of Tottenham ever, I think. We're all going to be, so let's hope for the best.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll play to both.
Isn't that brilliant? That wasn't a standard answer, was it? That was just pure honesty.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what they are. I'm sure some people just cut that frame, that line, and then roll it out when it doesn't really matter in terms of it could be made to look silly in the future saying that. But no, that's exactly what they are, and it's nice to see his honesty and a smile as well. Big win today.
Yeah, I mean, you've done this, of course, many times. When you get to this stage of the season, and as you said earlier, don't hit the standards, still get the job done, keep the clean sheet. Is that what win titles?
Yeah, and I think something that Kai Havertz said as well is it's so fantastic to be in this run. It is, when you are in that run, it really is. It's when you come to life as a footballer. Yes, sometimes it's really hard because if you've been very successful, and in our time we had replays in the cup as well. So if you've been really successful, very often you had game postponed, and you get to this point of the season and every game has got to be played. Like Man City's got to play this game on Tuesday. So the games are coming thick and fast. And yeah, it's tough, but it's also really good fun because you're in there. It's all about you and your performances, and it's something to enjoy because you really don't know when it's going to come again, if it's going to come again. So I really like the fact that he mentioned that it's good fun. But of course, it's hard work as well, and you've got to concentrate. And I think what Arsenal did today, without playing anything like what they've played before, they did the job. They made it really, really difficult. They got the chance. They scored on a mistake. They pounced on a mistake from Manchester United. They got the chance. They scored the goal. They protected it from there. And in reality, even though the stats are telling us something different, Man United were not really. They're not close to scoring. There was a little bit of sort of at the end, but they never really had the chance that could sort of put them back in the game.
I think when you look at when Man United were attacking, it didn't seem like there was any fluency in what they were doing. It felt like get the ball to Garnacho and then try and do something. Didn't feel like passing through fluid, moving Arsenal around. It felt like, they were hoping that an individual would do something. And obviously this is where they miss someone like Bruno Fernandes, because he's the one that normally can, in a game like this, pull it out the fire for them. But today, as much as, 1-0 is never a result that or a scoreline that you're comfortable with, but I felt like we always had the opportunity of maybe going up another game, scoring a goal, but I still felt you're still afraid for Man United might do something, and I'm glad they didn't.
46 points from 51 they've taken. I mean, as you rightly say, against any other team or in any other league, that is the title, isn't it? That kind of unbelievable consistency and momentum.
Yeah, they will look back, if they don't win it this season. Liverpool will be doing the same for the last nearly decade, but teams will be... It's so hard for teams to... when there's two great teams in one era. And there's no question this Manchester City team is a great team. How Liverpool have only won one title in the last 8 years or whatever is incredible. And Arsenal might be saying the same in a few years. They absolutely deserve the title this season by the way they played. They would have won it in a lot of other seasons. What could they get? About 89 points or something at the end of it. It's a league-winning season, that is. So, yeah, to be to have a great team at the same time as another one is pretty hard to take. But hey, it's not over yet.
Yeah, and we're looking at everything at the moment. I'm just hearing the rain's got even heavier. Who knows if this game had kicked off at the normal time on a Sunday? Well, this might have even been postponed or halted.
Judging by
looking at this,
that probably would have when you look at that.
And this is Manchester, by the way. So that pitch is well drained. It doesn't rain like this all the time, but it rains a lot in Manchester, and that pitch is really, really well drained. It's built to absorb all this water.
So on a Sunday, if we kicked off an hour later like we normally done, who knows? We might not got that completed.
Yeah, and they missed it just in the nick of time as well, didn't they? As you can see there, unbelievable pictures. That would have been quite something, wouldn't it? 15 minutes to go and the rain pours down like that. What happens then? But anyway, do you replay it? Do you have to pull the players off? But anyway, if, buts and maybes.
Yeah, they got it through. And they got it through courtesy of Trossard. We've mentioned his 17 goals.
Yeah.
He said they only had one effort. He's been a bit kind. They had 5 efforts on target, but clear sightings of goals.
I think this is what he might have been saying, a clear sight. And I think this is where Arsenal were ruthless. We heard Kai Havertz in these interviews saying that he had a look across and saw Casemiro not coming out, and that is the level that we're dealing with. You can't make a mistake of this magnitude in a game that means so much to the opposition, like Casemiro's doing here. He's not getting out quick enough. Like you noticed there, Pete. He's got to get out there quicker. Kai Havertz has seen it. Ben White's executed very, very well. But I think the Trossard's run, Wan-Bissaka, I'm very surprised he's let him get across him like that, but the run is very good. Maybe that's where Casemiro should have went, but he's got in there with pace and then sorted his feet out, because the ball's come across really quickly. Mick, you know what I mean, Mike? When you look at him, he's moving quickly and he's really sorted his feet out quickly. Look,
yeah,
really, really, people say, yeah, but he's right in front of the goal. He's just sorted it out very well. 3 people in and around him, and he's a great ball from Kai with the pace of it, and it's the kind of goal that they needed to score at that stage, simply just to put the pressure on United.
Yeah, I mean, I love that type of finish, because as a centre forward, you're having to. It's all about timing, isn't it, Wrighty? You're having to guess when, or educate a guess when the ball's going to leave his foot. You've got to time it, thinking, right, the ball's going to go there to there. If I go early, I'm going to be too far past the near post, or I'm going to have to slow my run and the defender gets it. So you've got to be absolute lightning fast, as quick as you can, but time it perfectly. So you've got, and that's all it is, isn't it?
It's brilliant, Trossard there.
Yeah, it's great. The finish is the easy bit.
Exactly, the finish is easy. He's made it easy, but like when Michael explains the amount of thought that's gone into that's got to go from Kai Havertz. His pass has got to have the right amount of pace to get through past the players, get past the keeper, and then the run. I think the run and the timing of Trossard's run, when you look at Wan-Bissaka, who's a very good one-on-one defender, it's just brilliant. And it's one of those goals that we take for granted. Oh, he's just a tap-in. But there's a lot of work that's gone in to make that look as easy as it was.
Earlier on, you touched upon...
Can I just...
go on, yeah.
From a defending point of view, obviously there are a few mistakes in there. So what you have here, you got Casemiro. We talked about this before the game. Casemiro is not a centre-half. I think he proved that on Monday night. So when he's behind there, I don't know if we can run that picture again where we can actually see. So as a team, you have to help each other. Teammates got to help each other. So what you see Casemiro is he's there now. But we look at what. All this is kind of like, it's just a build-up to it. But Casemiro hangs in there. Now, we don't see Onana, right? So we don't see Onana should be pushing up behind him and actually say, go further forward, go further forward. He doesn't do that. He actually stays on the line. So when we talk about being a team, you have to help each other out. So you talk about how well Arsenal did there, how well they looked at each other, they got the timing right. But this is one of the problems that Manchester United have at the moment, that it's very much individual performances, and they don't look like a team.
They attack like that as well. They attack like individuals,
they do.
Don't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And today is a great example of it's all about just when you get the ball, I'm going to try and score a goal, and I'm not going to look at any teammates. I'm just going to try myself. And this is for me as when we talk about standards and what Man United play is, this is what's gone out of it. And in certain ways, I'm not going to accuse the team of being uncoached, but it seems not to be a system or an idea. When we do this, well, these are your options. This is what you can do, or that is what you can do, or we pass it out to there. When we're here, this is what we're going to do. And I think someone like Garnacho today is a great example of how that doesn't work. I mean, we see the goal here again. Look at how spread out United players are. They're not reacting to it,
Yeah, I mean, Listen, it takes two to tango, doesn't it, I suppose, but us as centre forwards, us as attacking players, you prey on a weakness. You prey on, you try to force errors. If nobody made any errors, every game would be 0-0. So of course we're constantly thinking, right, he's dropped, he's not squeezed up too quickly. Right, now Havertz is, and then there's a chain reaction of problems in behind it. So that's what we're preying on. Of course, Peter will see it in a certain way as well, but there will always be little mistakes, and it's how you punish them, how you capitalise on them, and how you put that pressure on.
But would you always then do the same thing, or would you try to put a variation into what you do?
It depends what the mistake is. I mean, in that situation,
but you would look at it, wouldn't you? When you get the ball, if you're running if you have the ball, you're running towards defenders. Would you always do the same thing?
Not at all.
No, but
and every scenario is very different.
As a fan, I'm sat there, I'm watching. I mentioned Garnacho before. I'm watching Garnacho, who today had the ball so many times on the left. And I'm hoping for him, just now and again, to do something different. But every time, he's trying to finish it himself.
Garnacho gives me that the impression that he doesn't play off of it. He hasn't got that person in there to play off, right? So he can go and bam, like you maybe have Emil. You know what I mean? Some of the times if I came off and Dennis would be there, or Kevin Campbell, Alan Smith, he's somebody that when he gets it, he seems very, very one-dimensional in the way that he's only going for goal. You don't see too many 1-2s off of him. You don't see him looking to square it inside for his partner and the partner giving him the same thing. And this is where, for his age, and we know that he's capable of scoring great goals, is where the inexperience comes, because the decisions he makes in the final third at the moment, especially in this game, they weren't good enough.
He needs to be coached a little bit, you know?
That's all it is.
So these are your options. When you get into different situations, you cannot do the same thing every time. Everybody knows what he's going to do now. He's going to go left and try. Okay, he's trying to cross the ball. It's not a great cross, but he kind of, it seems like, he's doing a similar thing every time. Now he's going again, trying to. He's got pace, yes, but he's got players up there. There are options, other options. And if you look at how easy it is for Arsenal's defenders, this is the one time where he actually is doing it right, but then the finish did
7 shots today, none on target.
Exactly. And again, he's going towards goal. It's so easy to defend again. He's not challenging. He's not changing his angle. And I'm not criticizing him as such for it, because he's a young man. He's full of energy. He wants to do, what he's experienced as successful before. But he's up against possibly the best defenders in the league. They will suss him out like that quickly, and therefore you need to put some variation into what it is that you're doing.
As well as coaching, Peter,
That's coaching.
It's coaching, but it's also if for instance, he'd been in your 1990, imagine all the people on the pitch, on the training pitch, who would pull him to one side, like years later they did with Cristiano Ronaldo, for instance, when he was going to ground too easily. This squad doesn't have that type of character to help a young player like Garnacho or Maynard, does it?
And when you don't have those characters in the team, then it's down to the coaching staff to help the player maximise his potential. Garnacho is a great, great player in prospect. He is. He can be one of the best players in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt, and he's already done really, really good things. But in the last sort of month or two, it's felt a little bit like every time he gets a ball, he thinks he's got to finish it.
Is that because he's been asked too much? And he started, 30-odd games in a row, which, again, going back in Manchester United's history, a young player would never be asked to do, would they?
Possibly. It depends on his mental state, his mental capability. But, you look at Manchester United's threat, it's hardly a threat. You look at the names on paper, we're still not sure about Højlund. He could be brilliant. He could be, a poor sign. We will see when he gets more. But Ahmed, does a bit. But these are the type of players that probably should be coming off the bench, maybe, to change something at the end. None of them at the moment strike me as Manchester United. That is a Manchester United player. You think we keep harping back to a few years ago, but they, the Wayne Rooney's, the Berbatovs, utter class. Wright, he mentioned before, Fernandes, obviously they miss him. He's one player that can do something different. But for a Manchester United team, yes, there's injuries, but even on paper before the game, you just think, is that it? There's no goals in that team.
OK, let's get some Manchester United reaction. Here is the defender, Johnny Evans.
Well, Johnny, I know you'll not want to stand here and be too upbeat, but in terms of maybe a bit of pride restored after Monday, was that a lot better today?
I thought we were more solid. We tested the opposition goal a bit more probably than the other night, but still disappointing to lose, and with big expectation and on the young players in the squad. Ahmad coming in and Garnacho to provide that. Hoyland as well up front, but like I say, I thought we were a lot more solid today.
What was the key to being more solid?
Yeah, we changed the shape a little bit and put two midfielders, probably more defensive minded in there to sort of make us a bit more compact.
How tough is it? I mean, you've obviously got vast experience, and the manager's spoken a lot about the changes at the back. Was it 14 different centre-back partnerships? How tough is that, Johnny, when the guy next to you is different, like every single week?
Yeah, it can maybe take a game or two to sort of get used to each other's game, and I think every team to go through that would suffer. I think if you look at the teams, at the top of the league, especially, they've not had many changes. Maybe lost one or two players, but they've been able to cope. I think the amount of injuries we've had, like I say, especially a lot of our experienced players, Martinez, Varane, has had long spells out. Casemiro had a long spell out. Even Harry, missing the game today. So a lot of experience, and we've been very reliant on the young players over the season. Give credit to them. I thought they were great today, the two wingers. And they've been great all season. The young lads, Cobby, coming in as well. So a lot of responsibility thrust onto them, and I think they've handled it really well.
Does it feel like a lot of responsibility for you when there's a lot of young players around, and also even though the guy next to you is vastly experienced, he doesn't play centre back?
No, there's a lot of responsibility, and you try and take that on. And myself, coming back in, I guess my second game in a couple of days, and I think I've missed a little spell out of the team myself. So you feel it whenever you're out of the team like that, and you feel like you want to be able to contribute. And I think there's probably a lot of lads in the squad that feel the same. Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof as well. It's a lot what teams had to cope with, and I think the manager's tried to be positive over the season and deal with it as best he can, and I think he's handled that very well.
Where are Manchester United at the moment, do you think? I mean, as well as anyone, the scrutiny and the criticism is always big with this club. Like, to put it bluntly, how bad is it, or not?
Like Man United, you want to be challenging, you want to be winning games. We expect, we've still got that mindset where we should be winning today, and no Arsenal at the minute are on a good run, and you're up at the top of the league. But it's disappointing coming away from the game, and I think we should always have that expectations. I have to say the fans have been, since they've come back, I think they've been very supportive of the team and understanding. Like you mentioned before, the injuries and where we are as a team at the moment. Hopefully can regroup in the summer. We've got new owners have come in, and hopefully they've got different ideas. There's probably a lot of changes made behind the scenes at the top as well. So they'll come in, have their new ideas, and hopefully give the place a refresh.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
A lot.
Cheers,
pal. Thank you.
Well, Johnny Evans, Peter, there uses the word refresh. They've lost for the 9th time in all competitions at Old Trafford today, and that is equalled a club record in their entire history.
Yeah,
I mean, refresh is something of an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that isn't great. And it's us 14 defeats in the Premier League, which is really, really bad.
A new Premier League record as well.
Yeah, that's really, really bad. Now, we know that there are new owners, new leadership at the club. It is something, it's a hope. You're clinging to that hope that they will come in and make some tough decisions.
Have they got big plans? We saw you when Michael and I were covering the game at Chelsea, sitting next to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So we did promise, didn't we, that night, when Peter was next with us, we'd ask him, what's the inside track from Sir Jim?
The inside track?
What's
well, first of all, Sir Jim, he's a proper football fan. I mean, he could be on the terraces and singing all those songs and actually saying whatever he feels like in whatever moment. And that was quite refreshing to have somebody who loves football like as much as that, and also loves Manchester United the way that he does. I mean, he's coming in at a time where everything is falling apart from decisions made over the last 10 years. That's how I see it. So there is an opportunity now to draw a line and say, from now on, we do this. There's already, I mean, we've seen from the media, it was always, something about him email and he's done this and people are complaining about that. But changes are going to hurt. They are going to hurt. Something's got to give. And that is my hope that this summer, that something big, a big statement is going to be made. That tells me as a Manchester United fan that we're now changing direction. We cannot continue in the same way. We cannot keep believing that we can buy players and buy our way out of it, because we tried. We have really, really tried. We are the football club in the world with the highest net spend in the last 10 years. We can't keep doing that. We've got to be clever. We've got to develop players as the club has always done for their most successful periods. We've got to be smart and scout really well, do the diligence on players, make sure that we get the right type of players in. When we look at the squad today, we've got one team of the squads. We've got one team challenging for the championship. We've got one team not challenging for it. The one team, they've got every position covered on the bench, from the bench. And you will not really see the difference when they make the substitutions, other than a little bit more energy but the quality won't fall. But for Man United, you see all the young players who's never played in the team before. They are then being asked to come in and do that job. That's not what Manchester United is all about. It's not. And, what are the changes going to be? I don't know. People crying for a new manager, people crying for certain players to leave. We have to wait and see, but something's got to give, for sure.
And it's not going to be a quick fix, whatever happens, is it?
No, I would say not. I'd say not, but although, someone like Mikel Arteta came into Arsenal as opposite number today, and you'd say that that's happened reasonably quick, isn't it? Listen, it's not going to happen in a year or two.
Arsenal in as bad a shape as Man United are now, though?
No. But
there was a lot of players that had to go, though. He had to do a lot of work behind the scenes.
And that's hard. That's harder sometimes than getting players in, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you'd also say that Manchester United would have the financial clout to accelerate the process better than Arsenal back at that time. But Mikel Arteta's done it, and done it really well. So it can happen, but it's not going to happen in a year or two, is it? They're not going to win the league again.
Well, one of the big problems is, of course, that players have been signed for very, very high transfer fees, which has to be appreciated over a certain number of years. So they've had to sign long contract, 5-year contract, at very, very high wages. And if the players that you've signed are not good enough, are they gonna leave? I mean, there are certain players at the end of their careers. Are they gonna leave and then leave all that money behind? I don't think so. So they're still there, and they're still in consideration with FFP, which is something that United really have to be careful about now. So it's not as easy as we think to make those changes, especially getting players out, players we don't want there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Sir Jim is doing, but hopefully he's going to do something.
He's made changes in the background, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The main one he's got to do is the main job at the club. Sir Alex Ferguson always used to say the most important person in the club is the manager, and they've got to have that right. But once you get the right manager, then I think you can start accelerating that process. But the chopping and changing, the uncertainty, the lack of results, the lack of a plan, the lack of everything that we see, the lack of progress, full stop. I mean, you've got to get the right manager.
After the game on Monday night, you were very, very clear about what you thought about the manager. You said he's got to go. This is unacceptable. Now it's been nearly a week now. Have you made any thoughts about what you think would be a good person to put in there instead?
I mean, we've all heard of the rumours that possibly could be. I mean, we're hearing that the likes of Gareth Southgate, Graham Potter, people like that. You've now got Thomas Tuchel that's available. There are names out there. There's no real standout that I would think you've just got to go and move quickly and go and get him. But I just think, I know you've always got to have a plan after you make a decision like that, but this current manager fills me with no confidence whatsoever. And what are Manchester United going to do? Wait for the perfect candidate? You might be waiting a year, 2 years, 3 years. In the meantime, going to keep being served up this? I think you almost just got to make that decision, and then I'm sure they're searching as we speak.
The thing is, Mike, is that I was reading some of the stuff that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was saying about trying to build structure and trying to build a structure where a club plays to a certain like Ajax, which is something that Ten Hag was used to, and then you just bring the coaches in. Now, if that's the way they're going to go, then you probably feel like he might feel like, well, Ten Hag can operate in that situation, so we'll have to see how that works out. But to build that kind of structure in a club like Man United from the bottom all the way to the top, so as then you can only bring in the coach, is going to be a long process. So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually do that. But something's going to have to give in the summer. We need to find out what's going to happen. And it's quite interesting times for Man United now.
Certainly is. OK, interesting summer ahead. Let's, though, get the immediate thoughts from today. The 1-0 defeat from Erik Ten Hag.
Well, Eric, we know that a Manchester United manager is never going to stand in front of us after a defeat and be happy. But can the players at least look the supporters in the eye today, knowing that they've given everything, the fight, the heart that you asked for beforehand, that was all there?
No, I think your line is right. We can face them, where on Monday definitely we couldn't face them. But you see the fans are behind us, and they fought with us in Palace. And today we gave them back, but that should be the standard in any game.
So what was the key to a much improved performance?
It is attitude. Starts always with the right attitude, and that is what you have to build during the week, and on match day you have to be spot on. And today we did, and then you see even when we miss 7 start 11 players, potential start 11 players, we are competitive with one of the best teams in the league.
So you say attitude, but also a bit of an adaptation from you tactically today. Dalot looked very narrow. I don't know if the plan was to sort of restrict Arsenal, stop them coming through the middle.
Yeah, but it's also always the plan, and it's about the execution. And when you don't have the right attitude, and when you don't find the moments to press, when you don't be on one page in togetherness, or when you get beat, when you don't make the recoveries, then you make it very simple for every opponent.
What did you make of the goal that decided the game? Should Casemiro, should he know to be out there, or is that just a case of it's a midfielder playing in a out of position?
I think that this I think it's a line, and you describe it. That situation, that is a midfielder playing in that position, making a mistake, making a small mistakes, but has hard consequences.
How important is it that this is just this is the base, if you like, and you move on from here with basically 3 cup finals left, not just one?
No, but I think for a United player, every game is a final, and you have to perform and you have to win every game, and we should realise this.
You mentioned the supporters, I think, in your first answer, right behind the team again today, right behind you, it seems like, as well. What does that mean? Because, I mean, you're the manager of a massive club that hasn't had a great season, and it feels like the pressure and scrutiny on you is big, but to have those supporters still behind you, what does that mean?
That I think the fans understand this, where we are, where this club is. If we have so many injuries, and especially on key areas, they don't get what they deserve, the fans, but they understand this, and that's why I think they are behind the team, because they see most of the times also a team what's fighting for each other, but has the right spirit, and I think that's why they are with us. We are united, we have a strong bond, and hopefully we can pay them back in the future.
And do you think you've shown today that you're a manager that's still able to really influence this team tactically and in terms of their motivation?
I have no doubt about this, because, as I say, maybe in Palace, but I think there's also human beings, and in my experience, that will always happen once in 3 months, that you are not in the right attitude. But on Monday we had such a night, but mostly this team has always the right spirit, and they always execute the rules and the principles from the game, how we want them to play. And even if they have to adapt to different positions, where we are now with all the injuries, so I can only be happy, and I think a big compliment for this team, that the ones who played, they execute with all what they could, and they were competitive, and they were fighting, and then you see you can get a result.
Obviously, the league table, the gap between yourselves and Arsenal looks massive, but with a fully fit squad, how big do you think that gap is between yourselves and the very best teams?
Oh, that is just hypothetical. We don't have to answer this question in this moment, because it isn't and we have the problems, and that the problems cost us, I think, the results. But I don't know where we should be when we had all the players on board. But definitely is, if there are players all on board, then you will gather more points. Definitely you will more consistency, especially in the back line, because now we concede a lot of chances, a lot of goals, and last year we had the most clean sheets in the Premier League.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the best.
Well, Manchester United, the most points they've ever finished off the top of the league is 35. They're 32 at the moment. He thinks the supporters have been paid back somewhat today.
No, I don't think that. I think with him, with Ten Hag, it's one of his problems doing these post-match interviews. But I'm not sure he knows precisely what to say. He's trying to be honest, and he's someone who analyses a lot. So he's spending the next couple of days looking at the game, preparing for the next. He hasn't had that time. So he will probably see a lot of what we've seen today when he looks back at this game. But I don't think he's excelled in his post-match interviews, because he came out one week saying that his team was the most dynamic and entertaining team in the Premier League. They've just beaten Sheffield United 4-2 in a game where they were 1-0 down and 2-1 down as well, and a little bit fortunate to get to 4-2. And I don't know why he's doing that. It could be a deliberate thing to divert from other things, but I don't think he's excelling in that. And sometimes I'm worried about what's going to happen going forward if he's the one driving the bus. I am. I have to be honest. You are as well.
I can't imagine any Manchester United fan sat there at home watching that is going to be, that's my man. Great motivation. I get that. It's, oh wow. If that type of interview, we don't know what the plan is on the pitch, and after that, how long was that interview? About 4 minutes. I'm even more confused than I was beforehand. I mean, was there any sense in that? Mentions injuries a lot. Okay, whose fault's that? Whose fault's the injuries?
I think that's
it's not yours. It's like, he's the manager. It's his club's problem. Why are you blaming everyone?
Everyone gets injuries. It's the last thing you can say, Mick, for me. Talking about injuries, I think that if you're going to, what they should be doing, they should delve down into their injury department and the medical department and find out why so many players are taking so long to come back. And when they do come back, they break down again. You've seen it recently again with Mason Mount. Not saying that Mason Mount's pulling trees up at the moment, but...
No, he played on Monday and he's injured again.
He's injured, and so those are the things, again, that is part of what they're going to have to look at. Because if you can get Man United's first team out, then you probably feel like they're going to cause teams more problems, without a shadow of a doubt. Looking after the injuries and getting people back is vitally important to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Quickly, go on.
No, I'm just saying, having worked with someone like Sir Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson always, he had this saying, the season starts in March, you've got to be thereabout. Yep. But also, he never ever wanted us to train very much. 45 minutes, maximum an hour. So not putting pressure on the players in training, not putting pressure, because it's difficult, it's hard to play all these games. So I just have a suspicion that there are other principles being brought in from other countries, other leagues, where this is how we've done it. And it sometimes doesn't work on the Premier League. Sometimes you gotta compromise on maybe some of your principles, that you gotta train the day after a game, you gotta train. But sometimes it's better for you to have 5 days off, and just 2 days training. And so Alex would do that, because mentally, you got to be ready for the games. It's not about the numbers on everything is measured up. It's not about that, Owen. It's also about what you see and what you feel. And sometimes I just feel like that's not really in there anymore.
I remember that time he gave you a week off, you and Scholesy, do you remember? You went to Barbados, Scholesy went to the Lake District.
I left playing really, really badly. I came back playing really, really well.
Yeah.
Because now not playing, but playing what I was supposed
Schmeichel in
to
Sandy
do.
Lane, and then there you were. Yeah, brilliant. Number 27 of the Premier League season, it's got them back on top of the league. Arsenal want to play City 2, of course. Let's see how Mikel Arteta is feeling after that win at Old Trafford.
Well, Mikel, you had to suffer, but it goes to the final day. You've come to Old Trafford in the run-in, and you've won. Is that something that just cannot be underestimated?
Absolutely not. We know the difficulty of it, and that's why we have only won twice in 20 years here. And yeah, I think we started the game really well. Scored the goal, and the goal affected us, I think, in a negative way, especially with the things that we had to do on the ball.
Did you get into sort of protection mode a little bit?
I think so, and play to save and play backwards and play in areas that it wasn't progressing our play and creating the threat that we wanted, and we started to give a lot of balls away because of that, and then the game becomes open. But it's true that in the same hand we defended so well. Again, I don't think we conceded much at all, and that's what it got us the results.
Yes, 11 away clean sheets in the Premier League. I mean, those two centre-halves, I know it's a team thing, but Saliba and Gabriel together, that is a partnership that I suppose that gives you a chance in any game, even if you're not at your best.
Yes, but I think it's the attitude of the whole team. Look at Kai, the way he's chasing people, the way he puts pressure on the ball all the time, the discipline in a lot of habits that defending are super important. I think David as well was very, very good today again. So it's a collective thing.
I'm thinking back to some Arsene Wenger running advice, which you told your press conference about. It was a week or two ago, and basically it was, it doesn't matter how you win, just win in the running. Did you take that advice today?
Yes, but of course we are really happy to win. You want to play better, especially with the things that we did in the ball the second half, because there was so much space as well to help them. But that's another step that the team has to take when it comes to these stages, to be even more dominant. But the difficulty today was a high stake. We did the same with the Spurs, so big credit to the boys.
How different is it, and how much more difficult maybe is it when the stakes are so high, when you're this close to the end?
Yeah, it is. You don't have margins for error. You play big teams with necessity, teams that they really want to put things difficult against you, and you have the necessity to win, and that has to be managed emotionally.
It goes to the final day, definitely. You might be first, you might be second going into that final day, but just that achievement that you've stayed the course, what does that mean to you?
Today we wanted to open that door to say, last game in front of our people, our families will be there, and let's live one of the most beautiful days that we have lived together and see what happens.
Yeah, and I remember you saying the other week, I think it might have been for Brighton City, that you're just going to sit and watch their game in your pyjamas. Have you got any Spurs pyjamas?
We will certainly be watching the games. I watch all the games. It's true, we need that result in order to achieve it, and on top of that we have to do our job, so everything is at stake still.
Could they still be fallible? I mean, it doesn't look like it, does it? But could they? You know them better than anyone.
It's football. There's always possibilities.
Thanks, Mikel.
Thank you.
Certainly is. As I said to you earlier, 27 Premier League wins, more than any other Arsenal team in the Premier League era, more than the Invincibles, and it still might not be enough to win the league. But do you think Tuesday, ironically, Tottenham is the most likely, when you look at West Ham at the Etihad for Manchester City? Is it all on Tuesday now?
I just look at a Man City side that are just, they've not lost this year. Was it 33 wins? I still can't understand how Rodri's not in the Player of the Year, but the fact is that we're trying to ask a team like Tottenham, who have been so up and down, so open, to stop a Manchester City. I can't get carried away with hoping that something happens.
They haven't got a single Premier League point or goal in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Well, this is when we find out. You can hang your hope on that, obviously, but this is where we find out, because City are in a frame of mind where they know this is it. They can't lose this game if it comes down. City knows that they can't do anything other than try and get a draw out of this game. They can't even get a draw out of this game. They've got to win the game.
Got to win the game.
But they've never played Tottenham in the title race. They've never played at this time at the Tottenham Stadium.
No.
And I think that plays into
it.
This is where they are the best. They build up, like Sir Alex used to say, it starts at Easter. They've built up to that, they're thereabouts, and then they're just relentless. They've done it for years, When the Liverpool race last season, It was 94 points.
Season before.
I mean, 94, it's 93.
Yeah, 14 consecutive wins. It's just what they do.
It's so tough.
I don't think Tottenham can win that game.
You have to. If Tottenham win that game, then it will be something that nobody will be expecting. And of course, we're all hoping that can happen, because I think Arsenal have done brilliantly to get to this stage of the season. Coming off of last season, they've learned a lot from it. You can see what how well the players are playing. But again, we're chasing down a team that's going to probably, if they do it, they will be the best team. You have to say they're the best team in the Premier League era because they've done it 4 times. Not even the great Man United sides, they've done it 3. But this is a team what they're trying to chase, and it's tough. The bar is high, but they've done magnificent, and they've just got to keep going.
And as I said, there's so many subplots here. We're going to watch Villa-Liverpool tomorrow here. If Villa lose that, then that makes that game more difficult for City because then Spurs think, wow, we can win against Sheffield United and finish 4th.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this season, isn't it? We always wanted it as a neutral to go down to the wire. Relegation is looking like it's sorted, but European football is not. And, of course, the big one, the title, is not either. So we're still hoping it goes down to the last day. And whoever wins will be absolute deserving of the title because 2 teams are absolutely incredible, not much between them at all. But Manchester City, I agree with the lads, I've said it all season, they've just got gears, and as soon as they start needing to win in the last 2 months of the season, we've seen it before. It's they're a hard team to
stop. So you just think 2 wins for City?
I'm starting to believe that both teams will just win all their games now. They're in the zone. They're in the title-winning zone, and I don't think there's going to be a slip-up.
But all Arsenal can do, again, they've got 1 game to go. Whatever happens on Tuesday, is just win the game and just see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's what they had to go. Like, today was could have been a really tricky one for them, and I think that there was a little bit of nervousness. You heard Mikel Arteta say that we didn't progress the ball and do what he wanted to do, because that's just nerves. But, like, you have to feel that at home against Everton, knowing the last game of the season, which City, depending on what City do, they're just going to do what they've been doing and winning games and getting it done. Because that's what they've got to do now, because that's what City will do. They'll just get it done. They'll try and get it done.
Yeah. Well, it's all on Tuesday.
And there's nothing worse, absolutely nothing worse, with not getting it done and then realising, had you done it, you would have won it. Yeah. And I've experienced that once.
So was Michael. Don't remind him.
Yeah. Oh, my God, it's the worst feeling ever. we did beat West Ham.
Yes, I remember.
Oh my God,
the 2-2.
Yeah. And it was 0-0, wasn't it?
Was that a 0-0?
2-2.
2-2. It was 2-2, Mike.
And we won't even mention Aguero to Michael either. We'll leave it at that. Listen, Arsenal have taken it for the final day. They've done their job. For the 10th time in the Premier League era, the title will go to the last day of the season. Wow. From the 4 of us, we'll see you next time.
Thoughts about Manchester United and Everton? The erstwhile great Manchester United are still seesawing. A draw with Spurs on the 14th of January saw them win 5 straight games, albeit most of them just barely. Then came the awful loss to Fulham on the 24th of February, in which they played a lacklustre game. Then came Sunday's derby, where they lose 1-3 to the current league champions Manchester City, a game where they go a goal ahead, defend brilliantly for 50 minutes, eventually capitulating to the obviously better class of their rival. Regarding the manager Erik ten Hag, there are still many complaints from pundits left and right. The lack of clear sense of direction or style of play, lack or poor quality of man management, and constant poor recruitment of players. Since the 25% takeover of Man United by Jim Ratcliffe, it was hoped that Man United will progress to a more successful direction under his watch. Some pundits even think that Ten Hag might even be replaced come next season. Yet the stats show that he did not do too badly. He managed 61 wins in all competitions in his first 100 games, which actually is better record than either Mikel Arteta with 54 and Jurgen Klopp with 50.
Thoughts on Arsenal and Tottenham? If not for that 1-week blip where they lost to Aston Villa and bow out of the Champions League, Arsenal have been by far the most impressive team this season. They have the best defensive record. They blow teams away by huge margin of goals, which leave them with the top goal difference, worth a point at least. Even after that week of disappointment, they are now pretty much faultless. It is not their choice, however. They have to be, because reigning champions Manchester City have games in hand, which if they win all the remaining games, there is nothing Arsenal can do about it. They will be crowned champions for the 4th consecutive time. But the way Arsenal played this season, it will be a shame if they did not win the Premier League.